I love you.
It's Cooking with Rhenda today, and it's fall. As you can see, my table is covered with fall food. And by the way, I grew it. Look at this incredible pumpkin. I already have eaten several pumpkins. I ate a much larger butternut squash than this one is. I have sweet potatoes. Look at that gorgeous carrot. Yes, I love it. Potatoes, turnips, onions, pumpkin, and squash. I did plant rutabaga. For some reason it didn't take. I love root vegetables. I have amazing recipes for root vegetables that I enjoy sharing. Maybe we'll make that Moroccan stew in the upcoming weeks because it's one of my favorite fall dishes. Today we're going to make 3 dishes, but 2 of them are going to be combined, and then and they all have to do with fall. So I'm super excited about this. We are going to make what's called sheet pan pork chops. Now my pork chops are from a friend. I didn't grow these pork chops. She grew these pork chops. We went and helped them process their pig and showed them how to cut everything up. The thing about this pig is this is a potbelly pig. And if you look up potbelly pigs, you'll see that we in America are one of the few that do not use potbelly pigs for eating. The last time we had some of their pork chops, I don't think they had the flavor that ours have. So I'm trying them a different way and see how these go today. But you can use any pork chop. I want you to know that I truly respect those of you who do not eat pork. I definitely have religious things that other people, don't have. So I totally understand if you are not a pork eater. Replace it with beef or replace it with chicken. The same type of thing can happen. So we're going to use the pork chops because we have those, and they're all cut different sizes and shapes because they were cut from a very small pig, teaching someone how to do it. So today we're going to do a pan that's going to be filled with all different kinds of vegetables and meat. And what I'm going to do first is brown my meat, just because I like to brown it. I think it holds it in. I put salt and pepper on each side, and I'm just going to do a tiny bit on each side. To hold the juices in. There we go. I'll compete with that noise for a few minutes. So what I'm going to be doing first is making a sauce that will be used as the main flavoring for this recipe. So we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1½ teaspoons of balsamic vinegar, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, get every bit of that, 2 teaspoons of grain mustard that has the grains in it, and then I need a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to whisk that together. And in my pile here, I have a whole white onion. It actually calls for red onions, but I don't have it. So I'm doing a whole white onion. And I'm doing 2 different apples. And I'm slicing these apples so they're pretty thin slices for eating. Tart apple. This one is a very green apple off of the ones we picked this fall. And this one, which I know won't be as good, is a Fuji, or it might even be a Gala, which are not really great cooking apples. But beside the point. Okay, let me turn my I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off because they don't need to get cooked. So this is what we're doing. I'm gonna move this pumpkin, this squash, so that you can see what I'm doing here. What I'm going to do now is make a small amount of root vegetables that are going to be roasted. Roasted root vegetables are the best. They're so good. I am not even going to peel these. I've just washed these carrots and I'm going to use them that way. Last week I peeled them because I was taking them in to a friend and I wanted to make sure that, you know, everything was good with them. But I'm okay washing off my dirt. So I'm just going to make a small amount of roasted vegetables. In fact, I'm not even going to do those two. So I'm going to use one carrot, large carrot. And for roasted vegetables, you want to make them kind of chunky. And I'll just set some in here. I'm going to use 2 different kinds of potatoes. These I'm not peeling either. One kind, and here's the other kind. Okay, and I'm going to use a couple of sweet potatoes. Little tiny ones. You know, when you harvest your own sweet potatoes, you get all sizes. Literally, I have some this size, and they're still good to eat. Okay, so we should have harvested them sooner. There we go. These have been cleaned, scrubbed. That, and let's see. I want to put a little bit of a turnip in. So the turnip I am going to peel because it's kind of rough on the outside. Did you know that you can take turnips and use them interchangeable with potatoes? Like, I'll make half scallop potatoes and half turnip potatoes. When I'm making scallop potatoes, I'll do half and half. Nobody knows the difference at all. My son-in-law's pretty picky, and when I told him, he goes, "Really? I can't even taste it." And it's just a great alternative to potatoes. But you can fry them up. You can mash them up. It's just kind of fun. So that's that, and let me put a little bit of an onion in here too. So we can have that. And put it in. Okay, now we're ready to start. Get rid of my mess. So hopefully you can see this. Yes, you can. Okay, so I'm going to put my onion rings over here on this end and just kind of nestle them around. I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. And so I'm putting the onions on that side and the apples. There we go. And then I'm taking half of this mixture and drizzling it over the top of them. So my olive oil, balsamic, my maple syrup, just like that. Kind of mix it in with them. Remember, this was already seasoned. And then I'm going to take my meat and nestle it down inside. Okay, that last one got a little hot. Tiny, tiny one left. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take the last of the balsamic and I'm going to put it right on these pork chops. They're going to go in the oven for 15 minutes to start with. But at this end, so I'm going to throw all these over here at this end. Now I'm going to spin it around. If you have two, you know what? I'm going to spread these out. I just changed my mind. I'm going to spread these out so that they can really have room to cook. There we go. Okay. That's great. I'm going to throw these in the oven. So now I'm going to take another pan, put some parchment paper in it, because that just helps with the cleanup. Put all of these root vegetables in there. Spread them out so that there's plenty of room for them. And then sprinkle them with olive oil. This is also really, really good if you add Brussels sprouts in here. And then some rosemary. Oh, you know what? I'm supposed to put rosemary on the other ones too, but because I'm putting it on this, I'm not going to put them on that. It's supposed to have whole rosemary sprigs, and you know, when you have whole rosemary sprigs, then you're not picking the sticks out of your teeth. So, yeah. All right, so this is now going in. And you saw how fast that was. Super fast, easy meal, done. My timer just went off. So what I'm going to do now is, if I had a sprig of rosemary in there, which I don't, but if it was, I would pull that out first. And I'm going to turn off my stove and turn it on to high broil and start it. And I'm going to keep it on high broil for 2 to 3 minutes just to caramelize everything in there, and then I'm going to pull it out. Now, then we're going to let them sit for 5 minutes while I keep the roasted vegetables in there just a little bit longer. That. All right, let me get oh, the apples are all crisp on the other side. Look at that. That's roasted good. You want your meat to rest for 5 minutes before you cut into it, so you don't lose all your juices. I just tasted the onion. Just the onion. The flavor was so good. Okay, so now I'm going to dish up a pork chop. Put apples and onions on the top of it. And dish up some roasted vegetables. These can cook a little bit longer so they get really crisp. That's when they're really, really good. But I wanted to be able to display this for you. And there you go. It's cooked in the right oils, but it's not fried. It's excellent. This is a perfect fall dinner. Separate them. So I have this beautiful pumpkin, which I've cut apart, sweet potatoes, and a baby butternut squash, which I don't know if it had fully time to get right, but it's okay. So what I'm going to do is take the seeds out of these. You guys, pumpkins are so healthy for us. And they're really healthy for your dogs too. Hi. So what I'm going to do is empty these, put oil on them, put them on a baking sheet, throw them in the oven for 30 minutes to cook. So I cannot even begin to tell you all of the reasons why pumpkin is so good for you, but I'm going to try. So it is beta carotene, full of it. It's just full of it. So it gives us vitamin A, which also it helps your eyesight, of course. It helps to ward off germs, it boosts your immunity. It curbs your cancer risk. It helps with hypertension. It's full of potassium. It helps with the fiber in it. It helps you trim your tummy down. It helps you sleep more soundly. It smooths out your skin. It helps your heart. It's a pretty incredible piece of food. And so today we're going to make soup. What we're going to do is olive oil, all the sides of it. I'm going to salt the sweet potatoes and the squash and even the pumpkin, that's fine. I'm just going to turn it upside down on my baking sheet. I'm turning these upside down on my baking sheet, my sweet potatoes. Isn't that a cute shape? And then my little squash. Squash is optional. I just want to see how it works. So you can see that I've got a couple of large sweet potatoes, a small pumpkin, and a small squash, and it's going in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. They actually look really beautiful. And they're all, I stuck them all with a fork, and they're very tender. So I'm going to cut up an onion and put in it first and chop it very fine and stick it in coconut oil in my pan. You can use any kind of oil you want to, as long as it's the good oils. Coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil. We're going to cook it till it's translucent. Recipes where you just buy canned pumpkin and put it in, and put your raw sweet potatoes in, but I really wanted to cook it and roast it first. I'm going to add it right to the onions. And this is where you can change this to however you want it. If you wanted this to be a vegetarian dish, then you will be putting a vegetable broth in here. You can put any kind of broth in that you want. I'm putting chicken broth in. So I'm putting a quart and a pint of my chicken broth in there. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of coconut milk, full fat, 6 bay leaves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of, this is a half teaspoon that I've got here, so 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of sage, and salt to taste. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of pepper in there. Then we're going to put the lid on and let it simmer for 15 minutes. I'm going to get the heat up first, and then I'll simmer it once it starts simmering. Okay, it's done. So now I'm going to take the bay leaves out. I'm going to season with a little allspice. Oh, sorry. Pumpkin pie spice. That's good. It's not sweet like a pumpkin pie. It's got spices in it. So in the end, I added a pumpkin pie spice, some allspice, some nutmeg. Might add a little bit more cinnamon. I've never been a person who liked puree soups, but I think they have their place. And on a cold day, which today is not, on November 2nd, it's not cold, it would be amazing to have this, just to sip it in a little mug. Ooh, it would be really, really good. So now I'm gonna store it. So this stores well for 7 days in the refrigerator, or you can put it into small containers and put it in your freezer. It freezes very well. That way you make a nice big pot. This pot comes up to about here. That's way more than Jim and I will eat. And so we'll make small batches and be able to pull it out during the winter. I think that's pretty awesome. So in today's video, you saw us make an apple onion pork chop dish on a sheet pan, and then roasted vegetables, all root vegetables that are in season right now. And I followed it by making a pumpkin sweet potato soup. The reason I couldn't make them all together is because my oven wouldn't fit them all in, but I can tell you that roasting them like that and scooping them out was a really good idea to do. I hope that you'll try some of these recipes and just find time to get out, kick the leaves around, and enjoy the fall before winter.